Well, hello everybody. Welcome back once again. You know it is JJ and JJ's PC Builds, and happy holidays to you. And this is the 24th of December, Christmas Eve. Yes, I still got the cord right here, and yes, I still got the PC right here. It can't go anywhere until I know it's complete. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be diving in a little bit. I know I'm not doing a live feed today, and I apologize for that, but I figure this video will be, just as good, and I'm sure you'll leave me your comments on the videos down in the description below to let me know what you think and what you don't think. Now, when I did the live feed yesterday, and I kind of had an issue, okay? Not a tissue, an issue. But if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And my veteran subscribers, as always, much love to you for all that you do. Help them support the channel. Okay. Something I forgot to do in the beginning, but we're getting there. We are getting there. Right now, I'm kind of moving things around. And apologize for the Mikey kind of thing, but kind of moving things around a little bit. Let me explain to you what I mean by I had a little bit of an issue. Okay, the problem is this. Usually, now understand this, with NVIDIA, I can take and switch to different cards and not have a problem updating the driver software without removing the driver software. Now it seems like I was testing the AMD, the 7800 XT, because I moved it from the iGPU to the AMD 7800 XT. I went from my sleeper build, which is a B450 Asus motherboard, to a B550 tough Asus motherboard. And I figured there wouldn't be a compatibility issue. Which there wasn't. It still booted up into the 7800 XT, which you've seen on the last live video I just did. So, I gotta do something about that sag. But the problem I was having is that the Adrenaline software did not go along with it. I figured I would update it without removing the drivers, and it gave me an error. Let me boot up into this. Boot up into this really quick. Okay, and you notice that when I went from one computer to the next, I didn't use a login screen. Remove that. Do not have a login screen. Do not have one of those hello pin screens. Because when you're taking one drive to the next, from one computer to the next, you want to be able to not have that interference. Okay, what it does is it puts that the TPM security in place, so when you go from one computer to the next and you got a login screen, in order to get back into your operating system on that drive, you have to turn around and, basically you have to log into Microsoft, and you have to, get confirmation, email confirmation and stuff like that. It's just a mess. So make sure, and this is the way I do it, if you're testing from one computer to the next, make sure you don't have when you put the operating system on that drive, make sure you don't put in a password, and make sure your local account doesn't have a password. Okay. This way, you go from one to the next, and all you got to do is update the driver software. But now today, what's going to happen is we got to take and turn around, and we got to go into our action screen. And right here, we're on the new computer. So as you can see right here, we're on the new computer. It would, what would really help is if I plugged in the mouse. So that's what we're doing right now. We just plugged in the mouse. Yay. See, now we got the mouse under control. I was looking at the mouse and I was like, okay, the mouse ain't working. I unplugged the mouse for the simple fact I got to go back in the BIOS and I got to turn off that power cell phone peripheral kind of thing that Asus has in there. I had to do it into my other computer because that's got an Asus motherboard as well. It's something that you have to do. If not, then the mouse will stay on constantly 24/7. It'll stay lit up if you got a light up mouse. If you don't, then, it doesn't matter. But if you got a mouse that lights up or a keyboard that lights up, it will remain lit up even if you turn the PC off. So you want to make sure that feature is turned off when you shut down your PC. Now, another thing that I had with this too is that there's a delay start. I'm going to have to look into the delay start because my PC doesn't have a delay start. And when I looked into this this Asus Tough motherboard, when I did a dry run, it didn't have a delayed start. But all of a sudden, when I put this all together, it has a delayed start. So I have to figure that out. Sooner or later, I will. So, but at least here's the good news. My friend was sitting there telling me I got 2 extra weeks on this PC. So basically, I can, do what I need for the next couple weeks. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to show, this is going to be a long Christmas video. Okay, this is going to be longer than an hour. Okay, so now you see down here on the bottom where it says activate, go to settings, activate Windows. I understand that. It's not activated yet. You really don't have to activate it unless you want to start doing like your customizable desktop. We're not doing a customizable desktop, so we don't need to load it. It's a testing drive. So I really don't need to put a product key in right now. I have the product key. Microsoft, don't get bent. But right down here on the taskbar, as you can see, as I'm showing you, what's missing? The AMD Adrenalin. That's what's missing. So we go over here. We'll click on all apps. Here's the AMD Adrenalin software. Now look what pops up. It says the version of AMD software that you have launched is not compatible with your currently installed AMD graphics driver. And I just installed it with the most recent driver and updated software last night. So to resolve this, go to AMD, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So now understanding this, now what we'll have to do is we'll have to go into DuckDuckGo as soon as it loads in. And do remind you, this is on a mechanical hard drive, a regular HDD. This is not on an SDD or SSD. My bad. So this is going to be running a little bit slower. I'm just running a test on it. So, and I'm still waiting for the SSD to come from Amazon. It has not gotten here yet. So what we need to find is we need to go to AMD software. Oh, it would help if I had the right keyboard. Let's do AMD. You gotta be kidding me. Okay. Gotta find out why it's not working. Huh. Keyboard's not on either. Weird. What the hell? See, this is why you test before you give it to somebody. Test, test, test. Let's make sure I get the right one, which is supposed to be this one here. Okay, we got number locks. Now we're ready. My bad. Let's type in AMD software removal tool. Okay. So we're on the search for AMD cleanup right here, the cleanup utility. So this is what we want right here. Okay. So you scroll down, see where it says click right here, utility for Windows. Go to the file, and it'll have it right here. And this might be a little sketchy for everybody. Okay. So, let me move this down here. Gotta move my face around a little bit. So, now, what we do is we're going to go to our folder. Obviously, it didn't. It's giving us a little bit of an issue. Okay, so we'll just X out of that. I'm just using this for testing purposes. So we'll click on AMD Cleanup Utility. We'll click yes. Has detected that your system not currently in safe mode. Okay, now you click yes. The computer will go into safe mode, and then we'll work from there. So it's just like DDU, but this is just strictly for AMD. Now, if I had an NVIDIA software in there, I would have used the NV uninstaller. So we'll move right along. We'll go, it'll start right over. And it should bring you into safe mode. Oh my God, this is going to be a long day. Just kidding. I got somebody downstairs in the other place playing Santa. So I kind of took it off this year. So this should bring you into safe mode. I'm taking you along A to Z. You know, I want y'all to see this. So if you ever have problems with your AMD software and you want to clean it out, this is the best way to do it. And yes, it does take a little bit because I'm not on an SSD, and this is regular HDD. So, okay, so that popped up. This process will remove AMD drivers and applications such as graphic drivers, audio drivers, and AMD software. This process will not remove or modify AMD chipset drivers. Read that very carefully. It doesn't do nothing with the chipset drivers. So you're fine. So click OK. And it will remove AMD Adrenalin. It will remove all drivers, and it'll put it at square zero. And this is what you want to do if you ever run into this situation. Since I'm going from an iGPU drivers, I'm taking it all out. Since it's still using the same software, but it's for a different chipset. Now, if they found a way to make it multiple to where, it's universal, that's a different story. But so far, I have not seen any. Don't forget this right here. You're drinking snacks, by the way. So far, I've never seen a company do it universally to where it'll automatically go into the driver section, pull the new drivers for the GPU, iGPU, whatever it is, and pre-install it, or update the drivers. That would be something that would be really cool. So we are still waiting for this, and it will take a couple minutes. And AMD cleanup utility has successfully completed. So you can view the report to see what it done. It will take a couple minutes if you want to view the report. So, and it will tell you, see, it will do it in, okay, uninstall Ryzen Master SDK, AMD Driver 64. This tells you everything in uninstalled. Application packages, your driver packages, existing application packages, anything that's causing you an issue. And let's move my face out of the way again. And see if there's any failed packages. Obviously not. See where it says down here, failed application, failed driver packages. It doesn't show anything that's failed. So that right there, that's a plus. That's what you're looking for. So now we know what it uninstalled, and basically just click finish and then reboot your computer. So you'll end up starting right back into your normal Windows. Okay, this is a lot easier to do this than to use that DDU program. If you got NVIDIA does the same thing. They have the same cleanup program as AMD. I don't know why people go around the fact of, why they don't like it. Maybe it's something that, AMD or NVIDIA ain't cleaning up out of their driver software. But obviously, I'd never had a problem with it, so we'll go from there. Okay, now that we've done all that, I had to run out real quick and come back. My apologies to you all. Now, what we're going to do, see, where the start menu is, we're going to right click and we're going to go to Device Manager. Okay, now that we've restarted, and we are going to go to Display Adapters. This is what you want to see. The Microsoft Display Adapter. Basic Display Adapter right here. And you click on it, you right click, you go to Properties, and it says devices working properly. Drivers should give you basic drivers. You shouldn't see anything on the rollback. Just hit cancel. and X your way out of that. Now, when I go over here and left click, I'm going to go to all apps. I should not see anything for AMD Adrenalin, which I don't. So now that I know that's gone, now there's another way you can do this. And let me remember. No, they don't have it on that menu. We can go to all apps again. We can scroll all the way down. And we can go to, see, I'm not used to Windows 11. We can go to Windows Tools. Okay. In which it'll bring up Windows Tools. Okay. Now we can go to Control Panel. Hopefully y'all are sticking with me. We can go to what they call Programs and Features. I'm double checking to see what's in here to make sure that everything that's dealing with AMD Adrenalin is gone. Okay, so looking at, I do have MSI Afterburner in here. It's not enabled yet. So I can use that if I need to. If I don't want to deal with the AMD the AMD drivers for the 7800 XT, I can always use MSI Afterburner and set it up the way I want it. Okay, so we see nothing for that. We'll get out of here. I'm taking you all along with me slowly, so this way you can see what to do, and you can always roll the video back and, follow along again to make sure you're going step by step. So this way you don't miss anything. That's the reason why I'm doing a step by step. Now that I see that it's all removed, now I need to find out what the problem was. So we're going to go into our file folder. This little folder right here, it's called your file folder. We are going to go into our downloads. We know AMD clean up utilities there, but I moved to the documents and made me a folder that says AMD or ASUS Tough Drivers. Okay, so now I got all the driver software here, if needed. Okay, so if I can't see what I'm doing there, then I go backwards to the downloads and see this is the driver I picked up right here. The 23.10.2, which that's the driver I don't want. Okay. Now, go up here to the most recent 23.11.1. That's on my list. I don't want that neither, because for the simple fact, I want to go into my documents, ASUS Tough Drivers. I want to make me a new folder. You right click, show more, and go to new and folder. And what I want to do is put video. Oh, maybe it'd help if I'd stop pressing the wrong keys. Make sure I'm still recording. Yeah, I am. Type in video. drivers. Okay, so now that I got that folder there, minimize the folder. Now I want to go back on DuckDuckGo and then go through the fact of the next step. I'm going through how you can install AMD drivers, how you can uninstall and reinstall. So this will be a full uninstall and reinstall video. And yes, the reason why you see that little circle right there is because I'm using a mechanical drive, and that usually because it's taken that long. I'm still waiting for the SSD. I know I've said that many a time. So we do AMD, wrong freaking thing again. Oh my God. Wrong keyboard. AMD driver software. Okay. So we want to go to AMD support. And then we're going to right here. And hit submit. Now, we're on Windows 11. Okay. Now, this is 12.5/2023. This is 12.1. Okay, so if you want to do an auto detect and install, you can do that, which I don't really need to do that. Okay, more. Let's see. Nope, I went too far. Let's go backwards a little bit. Okay, so make sure we're at the RX 7800, Windows 11. We want this right here, the 23.12.1. That's the most recent. We're going to download this. This way I will be assured that we're using the correct drivers for this. And that, this is probably the kind of mistake that you'll make is you'll get, the wrong chip set, the wrong driver set for your GPU. And then, even though that it might work, it should, the one problem that I'm having right now is that if it was set for that certain GPU, it should have been to where when you go to install it, it should have said it's not compatible. And then I wouldn't be going through this. It's a little hiccup AMD has when it comes to their software. It's just their software installs on whatever. If you get one for the 7600, driver software for the 7600, it probably will install on the 7800 XT, but you won't be able to use the Adrenalin software. So that's where it kind of sucks. And I think that's pretty much what happened is I didn't grab the right driver software. And me being, if I was in the consumer shoes, and you have to understand that when it comes to the consumer, they could end up grabbing the wrong things and have the same problem, which I'm doing it on purpose. And do understand that I'm doing this on purpose so you see what the consumer might actually do. And it's not saying they're, in that stage of being, stupid. It's just, sometimes if they don't go to the exact driver software and get the right one, then you're stuck into this boat of having the wrong software and not getting it installed correctly, and then AMD Adrenaline's not working, then you're stuck in that boat. So I'm showing you how to get out of that boat by uninstalling and reinstalling the correct software. Now, if the software that I'm installing now tells me that there's a problem, then now I have to figure out where the problem is. So now we'll go to open the document. We'll look at the document very carefully. It's the December 5th, 23.12.1, making sure it's the right download, which it is. So now we got the correct download. We'll take and minimize this. We will take X out of this, and then we'll go over here to our folders, which we'll leave this open for a reason. We'll open this. We'll open both at the same time. Okay, so we'll open up video drivers, and then we'll come over here. My bad. So we'll take and cut. We'll cut the software, and then we will paste it. Yes, I go to show more options. I'd rather do it this way. And we'll paste it there. Now the AMD cleanup, we'll right click it. We'll cut this too. And we'll go over to here and we'll paste it. For future use, it'll be right there. For future use, you'll have the cleanup utility and you'll have the latest software right there. And then once you're done, X out of this, and now you got this right here. Now you got the correct driver software. Now what you need to do, and this is a big thing, on Windows 10, this was a big thing with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to settings. I am going to go to Windows Update and see what's cooking on Windows Update. Okay, now what I'm making sure of is that with the Windows Update, that they don't give me an update for the AMD RX 7800 XT and install that driver. That's what I'm making sure they don't do. So I'm waiting for it to do its download thing. And after that, we'll have to install it and then go from there. That's the reason why I'm not putting that software in just yet. It's the reason why I'm not putting this in just yet. I'm saving that off to the side. I'm waiting for this to finish. And once this finishes right here, then we can move on. I want to make sure that I get all the updates out of the way before I finish this software. Because if you don't, then you could be stuck with obsolete drivers from Microsoft, and when you go to use the AMD Adrenalin, it doesn't work. So I'm avoiding all the has-been BS. You know, I don't know why Microsoft does that on Windows 10, but this is Windows 11. Hopefully it doesn't do it on Windows 11. This is what I'm going to see right now. And the download rate is really slow. It's really slow because I don't have an SSD M.2 in there. But once I get this done and I get that SSD M.2, I'm going to show you how to duplicate what's on this drive onto that M.2. And we're going to transfer everything that's on this hard drive to the SSD. And that's where it gets interesting. So we'll make sure and see what it's installing. Click Install All. Then once that finishes, it'll probably have us do a restart, which is no big deal because I'm on my other PC and it doesn't interfere with the videos. That's a good thing. And then we can go from getting AMD Adrenalin all set up. And then we're going to set up MSI Afterburner as well. So I'm going to show you how to set up MSI Afterburner. I'm showing you how to set up the AMD Adrenalin. And I'm going to show you the outcome after all this of what the 7800 XT can do. We can do it on Steam. We could do it on Steam. We will see. But what I'm going to do is, while this is uploading, I'm going to pause the video here. So this way you guys don't have to wait through it with me. We're just going to take and pause it, and we'll come back when it's already installed. Do stay with me. Alrighty, let me move my face around here a little bit. Alright. I'll put it down here. Okay. Now see where this says, and sorry, we're back. See where this says AMD Micro Devices Display 3 right here. AMD's display. Okay. Now the thing is this. When this installs, this is going to disrupt your recent AMD Adrenalin software. Okay. So, because it will automatically install. So what we're going to do is, after it's done installing, is we're going to go into the settings and we're going to remove this. And I'm going to show you how this is done. So if you're wondering how I do my software, these are the things that they don't show you that actually happen. And people, what they do is they turn around and they install the AMD Adrenalin recent updates, and then after that, Microsoft installs theirs. And then they run into this fixation because what Microsoft just did. Microsoft should not install any software unless you requested it. Now, I did not request Microsoft to install this software. I didn't at all. So what you want to do is you're going to want to right click and you're going to want to go to Device Manager while that's doing its install thing. Okay. So we'll minimize this and let that pop up. It'll take a couple minutes. Yeah, it's a little slow. I hate to tell you this because of the hard drive. I know it's slow. But once I take and clone this to a new drive, this is all going to change. This is going to run 100 times faster. So you'll just have to stay with me until I do the cloning of the drive. See? This is the Microsoft drivers. That's the reason why you see it phased out like that. Okay, so we're going to double check. And it says completed. Okay, so now we're going to go to display adapters and see right here. This is a problem. They got a party going on downstairs. This is a problem. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to properties. You're going to want to go to drivers. And you're going to want to roll back the driver. And they give you this reasoning. I've said this 1,000 times on videos. My reasoning is previous version drivers perform better. That's basically what I'm going to say, because it does. Because I'm going with the factory driver compared to Microsoft drivers. And then after that, you're going to click yes. And then it's going to roll back to the original drivers, which are right here. So you go click your general, Microsoft Basic Display Adapter. Okay, that's what you want to see. This is what you want to see right here. Now that you've done that, now you can go forward with opening up where you put your drivers. You go to your. This is the way I set mine up. You know, I always keep a copy of all the recent drivers and everything else in a folder. So this way, if I ever have problems, I can always go back to my previous drivers and not worry about it. Okay, so you got the cleanup utility. This is our most recent one, 23.12.1 for the 7800 XT. Now we click on that. And we can X out of this. I got it set on single click, not double click. So, and once that pops up, it will. So we don't need to be in here anymore. It'll give you a security warning. You click yes. And then we're going to start the process all over again. Now we're installing the most recent drivers. Everything's been taken out. And now we're going forward, putting the drivers in. So this is going to take a couple minutes. So get your popcorn, get whatever snacks you want. Make sure you got a drink in hand. This is the lengthy process you go through installing your drivers. Just like if you're installing your AMD chipset drivers and so on, you go through all this to make sure your driver software is correct. You want your games to run correct. Then, they got additional options. You want to make sure it says full install. You can do drivers only. You can do minimal install, or you can do full install. Okay, if you do drivers only, you don't get AMD Adrenalin software. You just get the driver set for the GPU, and that's it. I mean, you can do that, or you can go with the AMD Adrenalin software. Do remind you, they have somewhat of a power issue right now with their driver software when it comes to the AMD Adrenalin. So, but I'm going to go full install. Okay, see where it says factory reset optional? Don't check that. You don't need to do that. You've already done it, and you did a clean uninstall. So this is all clean. Even though that, Microsoft sent that driver in, it still removed it. It's not in the driver software folder. So now we want to click install. Since it's already got the program files and it's AMD, we're going to click install. And it tells you it's got a couple minutes. So we're just going to keep moving along, and you'll see the install. I wanted to take you guys along with this on a video, not a live video, but I wanted to take this aspect of the things. I wanted to take this. This is with Windows 11. You can do the same thing with Windows 10. Okay, Windows 10 and Windows 11, you can do the same thing. Just to let you know that, keep that in mind. So, I will bring you back when it's done installing. So, stay with me. I'm trying to lower the time of the video so that way, y'all don't have to be waiting for me on video forever. So, what we'll do is we'll see you in a moment when it's all finished installing. Alrighty, now we're back on the desktop. There we go. Now let's do our diligence and check to make sure everything went in correctly. So you right click on the start menu, go up to Device Manager, let it load up. Now we're going to go to Display Adapters, we're going to do, and it seems it loaded, but we're going to go to the Properties. We're going to go to the driver, and then we are going to highlight and copy this number. Okay, hit cancel, minimize this. Yes, we know AMD's got it, Okay. We know. Let's see if the Adrenaline software came in first. Which should be down, icon should be down at the bottom. And you right click and you open AMD software. I might have opened it up twice. So, if you can't see it, I'll move my head. There. I'll move my head for you. Okay, now it's got quick setup. We can go through the quick setup. So we'll do the quick setup. It's got the HyperRX, quality, default. It's set, I mean, you can start gaming. Or you can just click skip this. That's basically what I do, is just click skip this. I can enable HyperRX. Looks like I got some cool stuff, cool stuff here. I don't usually read this because I'm sure you all have read it. And then we can go to performance. And we can make sure our GPU is stabilizing right here. So frame rate, frame time, it seems like they added some things. We'll move my face. We'll put my face right there. Okay. So sampling intervals, I always put the 25. We don't need to see the FPS right now. We don't need to see the GPU memory. If you want to see it, we can see the GPU memory. There it is right there. If you want to see the CPU, there's the CPU temps. There's the total board power. And I'm not running nothing right now. And it's at 37, 38 watts. Totally stock. If we don't want to see the CPU, we can click off of that. We can click on that. we don't want to see the GPU memory, we can click off of that, or we click off of that. It shouldn't be running that hot, just in my opinion. But it's only at 31C, so, but it's running at 37, 38 watts. That's kind of got me a little concerned, but not enough to worry about it right at this point in time. Let's go to the settings. Maybe I need to adjust a setting or two. Check for updates. It's on automatic. That's fine. As you can see, this says I'm running Ryzen 5 5600X3D 6 core. Got 32 gigs of RAM. Can click more details, and see what I got cooking. So that's pretty much what's in that computer in this one. So we can go to preferences. Then we can look through our preferences, and do whatever. We got Steam VR, which is pretty cool. Audio video, which we can go through. We can go through system. It's not too hard. You can go through anything you want. If you want to go to your gaming, you can go to your graphics, set at default. You can set them up however you want. They got Radeon Super Resolution. I'm not turning on the anti-lag. They got Radeon Boost. They got the chill, that whole anti-analyzing and that whole 900 yards. Okay. They got some kind of advisor. They got a display. So you can set up your display. You can set up your graphics card, however you want to do it. You can do your games. If you want to do games, graphics, display, blah. Or you can go to the home. Go to your performance tab. And you can go to tuning. And this is where you can tune everything if you want to tune it. So performance, and you can go to tuning. You can set everything just the way you want it. I'm not going to tune this. I'm going to leave it as I got it at default. It's got smart access memory. SAM is enabled. So smart access memory does work on this Mobo. Now we can overclock the GPU if we want, but I want to see what it does stock first before I decide to overclock it. So now the software is installed correctly. And you're wondering why I pulled up those numbers off of that. Well, if you're unsure of what was installed and if Microsoft installed something, you can always resort back to go into DuckDuckGo. I know this is a little long process, but I'm moving my face over here. I know it's a little long process, but this is a process you go through when it comes to setting things up. I think I just need to homepage. Okay. Oh, I know we're approaching an hour. http://www.yogoogle.com. Then you hit OK. That's if you want to do a specific page. Home button. There it is. That's what we need right there. Okay, so now we're done with the settings. I never no thanks. Okay, so now we paste this in here. We hit enter. This tells me right here, and this is what I wanted you to see. This tells me it's 23.12.1 release notes. Okay, this is what you wanted to see. You wonder those numbers that I pulled right here at the top? I wanted to make sure that they match with the software I pulled from AMD, which it does. So, and plus this gives you the release notes. I'm not going to go through that today, with the 23.12. That'll be on another video. If y'all want me to do that, just leave a comment below if you do. Ooh, doggy. Okay, so we know that we got the correct drivers. We know that the software is all correct. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to do superposition. The reason why is because now that the drivers are set correctly, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this at 1080p medium. Okay, so this way, I just want to see what it's going to do at 1080p medium. DirectX, that's fine. Let's run it. And let's see what happens. I know y'all can't hear the volume. Probably could, but I think I got it muted. Yeah, I think so too. I think I got it muted. And sorry about the loading times. Like I said, this is just giving me a dry run. That's all this is doing, is giving me a dry run. At medium settings, looking at 250. That's not too bad. Especially, do remember, I did undervolt the processor. In the live stream, I've undervolted the processor. Do keep this in mind. This is just running it at standard. See, the person that's going to be getting this is not going to be overclocking. So I want to make sure this is set without it being overclocked or anything else, just running normal. Holy Jesus. They got a speaker on the motherboard? Oh, headphones. Sorry. That's what it was. I was checking the audio to make sure the audio was correct as well. Audio's working fine. Audio works great. But now this is a test of the 7800 XT. Now, I'm going to show you how to put together a little bit on MSI Afterburner after this test is ran. I just wanted to see where this is going to land. Compared to the test I've done previously. So this way you all can see the real deal on this 7800 XT. Is it good? Is it good enough? Is it good enough for, whoever? Yeah. I mean, it's a really good GPU. I mean, so far I did a little bit of testing. I'm pretty satisfied with it. Price point, okay. So it's telling me the max is 330 FPS. The average is 236 FPS. And the minimal is 134 FPS. Now I know it's running correct. The processor only ran at 3301 megahertz, which is 3.3 gigahertz, which that's not killing the processor. It's got 32 gigs of RAM. It's got the Power Color Radeon graphics, 16 gig, Navi 32. Drivers 2312.1, and it says Windows 10 OS. Why does it say Windows 10? That's weird. Oh, that's because I did have a Windows 10. No, I didn't have a Windows 10 OS on this. But anyway, the score looks good to me. I mean, ran at medium with it, with all that going. I think that, it looks good. I'm happy with that. Let's do another test. Let's go to OCCT and open that up and see what we get. Okay. I'm going to run a couple benchmarks. I am going to run a couple benchmarks. Yes. That pops up because I have protection set on this. Cancel. Okay. OCCT. CPU. Data set. Let's do large data set. Let's go and leave it normal and leave it variable. And let's leave it at 1 cycle. Let's see what 2 cycles gives me. 1 cycle at oh geez, 1 cycle at 2 minutes. Okay, I know that sounds crazy, but it's just the way I feel it, looking at it. So let's go ahead and give it a start. Now, I know it's not going to crash, so if it crashes, I'll be surprised. Now we're looking at the CCD, the CPU die, and I want to see, at this instruction set, if the temperature is going to be too much on this 360 AIO cooler. What is that? Deep Cool? The 360 Deep Cool that I installed. I showed you guys I installed that. So we're putting this on a 2-minute instruction, a 2-minute test to see if it's going to go up higher than 60C. So far, I'm not feeling that whatsoever. It's running all 12 threads on one cycle. And it's using 2.6, 2.7 gigabytes of RAM. And it's pulling only 62 watts, or 69 watts, my bad, at 100%. This is just the CPU. This is not GPU. Keep this in mind. I'm showing you what it's doing CPU-wise. I'll show you what it does GPU-wise. You know, just keep your drawers on. You know, I just wanted to do a 2-minute test, really quick. And then, you know, after I go through all my testing and everything else, and it passes through all those tests, then I'm going to come back to this again, and then I'm going to run it on, I'm going to give it like maybe a 1 hour burn-in. I'll run it for an hour. The CPU, I'll run it for an hour. The GPU, I will run it for an hour. And I'm not going to keep you guys here doing those two tests. But at the end of the test, I will show you what the results are. So, like 30 seconds before the end, I'll put it on video to show you where we're at. And it's still the same. I'll show you when it starts and I'll show you when it ends. So there's nothing lost. So the test is stopped. We're looking at 6150C, 61.50C. We're looking at the average at about 50.26. So the CCD is about 60C. How close do you think I can get that temperature on the processor? By me undervolting it in a certain way with just the right oomph to it, but not taking away from the performance. Not taking away from the performance. And boom. You see my point? This is what I did with my system and to get it running just like this. So this is sick. And sitting level, it's 26, 27 watts on idle. So that's not too bad, as long as it's not running 40 watts on idle. So, but the GPU is at 31C. It's not pulling much amperage. Let's go ahead and roll ourselves back here. Let me get this all set. So now let's go ahead and go back. That was a large instruction set too. Do keep this in mind. Okay, now we can pull it to extreme and then run that same test again on the CPU. And the thread settings is going to be run on auto. So the computer will determine this. Now, let's see what happens. We're going to pull it to an extreme and see if the temperature is going to get up to where I think it's going to get up to. And start. Just in 2 minutes time. Do remember this. It is in 2 minutes time. When you got an AIO cooler, it should not reach past 70 degrees C. If it reaches past 70 degrees C with an AIO cooler, then you got something wrong. You did something to where it's not running correct. It's either that or you got a faulty AIO cooler. I'm running this test to see if this AIO cooler is going to be right, and it's running right. Okay. Now I got it going full blast, full bore in the BIOS. I've set it in the BIOS at full blast. All the fans in here are set at full blast, except for the GPU. The GPU is set on a fan curve, but the rest of it is running max. I run my fans at max. Y'all think I'm crazy for doing that? Oh, hell no. I love the airflow that's coming through here. And when I put this glass front on this tower, it's going to take all that airflow, all that even airflow, and push it right up from the back side down the bottom side, and it's going to push it right out the top. And as I can see going through this AIO cooler to see if it's going to be pushing enough heat through there. And I can see it is. It's definitely pushing the heat out of the case. So as I see that the CPU die is staying at normal temps, below 60. And that's just a 2-minute test. Okay, if it survives the 2-minute test, it's going to survive a 1-hour test. So do keep that in mind. And yes, I know this might be a 2-hour video. So I don't know if I'm going to break it up or not. I might just keep it all one video because it's a Christmas Eve video. So now that you've seen that, we go back. Okay, now you can test your memory. And you can do a 2-minute test. And you can test how many, if you want to do it at megabytes, you can do it at megabytes, or you can do it at percentages. I'm going to do it at, so I don't crash the system, I'm going to do it at 99%. I'm going to leave these on auto. I'm going to click start. I'm testing the system RAM now. This is the system RAM. Now, if there's a problem with the system RAM, guess what's going to happen? This is going to crash. So, and as you can see right at the top, the physical load on this is 96.3%. That's a lot of load on your RAM. And we're going to let it run for 2 minutes. And it's holding at 4350, which the processor is supposed to be 4.4 gigahertz. But for some reason, the Ryzen 5 5600X3D runs at 4350 megahertz, 4.3.5 or 4.350 gigahertz for some reason. That's with all of them. That's not just mine. That's all of them. Anybody that bought one, this is the max. This is the max that they run up to. So just keep that in mind. It's kind of, I'm not going to cry about 50 megs. Okay, it's 50 megs. I'm not going to cry about it. It would have been nice if it would ran up to 4.650 gigahertz. It would have been nice, but it doesn't. And we're holding steady. When I test the RAM, I test the steadiness of the RAM. And make sure that it's doing everything it says it's doing. Now, We can go look and see what our RAM is. It's not even hitting thermal limits. Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay. Not too bad. It stayed within temp. The RAM did, so I'm happy there. Now, we are going to do 3D adaptive. Intensity range. We'll just leave it at this standard. Now we're gonna beat up the GPU. Now we are gonna beat up the GPU to see what happens. Let's see if it holds up. I don't know. I don't know. Wow. Oh, now it's kicking in. Now it's kicking in. The fans are running. You know what? The fans are not even running on the GPU. What the hell? Good thing I caught it. I'm checking the heat pipes. No? Wow. And it's only up to 38C too. I need something to bear down hardcore on this. Wow. It didn't even phase it. Let's see. Let's do the VRAM at Let's do the VRAM at 100%. I did this with my 4070, and it stood the tides. Let's see if the AMD 7800, the RX 7800 XT, can hold as much as the RTX 4070. So we're going to push this to 100% for a 2-minute cycle. And knowing I ran the 4070 at a 10-minute cycle. And it says one cycle at 16 16 gigs of RAM. The GPU hotspot went up to 53C. The GPU temperature is at 43. Pulled the voltage up. And it's the memory clock's running at 24.25 megahertz. So it's running at 2.425 gigahertz. But it's not utilizing much of the GPU though. I don't know why. It should be pulling the wattage right up. It's at 16 GTs. Look at the PCI link. It's at PCIe 4.0 x 16. It should be popping this. This got me curious. And it's not even pulling it. All right, we need to run this a little bit harder. Huh, interesting. And got it up to 42C, but it doesn't seem like it's... Let's pull it up to 90%. Let's pull it up to from 30 to 90. Increase by 10 every 30 seconds. That should do it. Let's start this test and see what happens. Told you guys it's going to be a long video. It's going to be over 2 hours. And you're going to say, well, why didn't you do it live, Jay? Well, I really wanted to, bear down on this. And I know you guys don't take it wrong. I wanted to bear down on this, and I really wanted to do some hardcore testing. And I know I would have did it live, but with my mouth, I just kept blah, 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 not paying attention, And it kind of, throws me off a little bit. So this test right here, this should tell me everything I need to know. I want to see it pull it up. I want to see it pull it hardcore, but I haven't seen. I mean, it doesn't seem like this is pulling it at all. So I might have to use another program to really pull on this. I might have to use Furmark. Yeah. Because I got this pulling at 100%, supposedly, but it doesn't seem like it's touching all 16 gigs of RAM. I could be running the wrong test, too. So we'll let this test finish, and then we'll go through all the testing again and see what we can do. I really wanted to pull hardcore. Because I want to see what it can handle. Okay, so power. Let's see, line pack, CPU. Let's go to benchmark. Um, Stability test. That's what we were on before. Benchmark, latency, and bandwidth. That's dealing with the memory. This is memory CPU. Okay, this ain't gonna do me no good. Not on this kind of test. Now I'm gonna go to Furmark and run that for a couple minutes, see what Furmark does. Okay, well, yeah, we know the new. We don't want the new. We got anti-analyzing off. GPU Shark. Let's try GPU Shark. No, I want to run it just as is. And now we're running GPU Shark. Let's see what happens. If it does anything. Okay. Now we're stress testing. Let's see. Memory is pulling up to 2425 megahertz. The VDDC is only pulling 0.827 volts. Current clock speeds at 2167. And it's at 53C. And it's at 508 FPS. Let's see what the average is going to look like. Wow. We'll give it a couple minutes, everybody. See where it levels off at. So you can run this test to see where it levels off at, everybody. And it gives you a good idea. Well, so far the temperature is at 60C. We're only 1 minute in. Well, 2 minutes in, really, but who's counting? Usage is about almost to 100%. Now, GPU temp is 62. The hot spot is at 79C, 80C. And this is on the GPU. This is what you want to pay attention to, especially if you're going to be gaming. Now the fans are kicked in. That's what I was waiting to see too, if the fans were going to kick on, which they did. Yep. Ugh, sorry about that. Long day. So the fans kicked in. We're at 81C. And if you're wondering, that's 177.80 Fahrenheit. So that hotspot, this says, and get this, total board power. Y'all ain't going to believe this. 262 watts. That's what it says, total board power. 262 watts. Wow. I'm good. I'm glad I put the 1,000-watt power supply in there. Wow. That is a lot of that's a lot of power, man. That is a lot of power. Fan speed's only at 31%. So this is telling me that the fan curve is wrong. This is telling me the fan curve is way wrong. That GPU hotspot should never hit 81C. But there's a but to this. It doesn't look like it's escalating. No, it don't look like it's escalating. But I still don't like it to run at 31C at or 32%. It's still holding over 500 FPS. Y'all wanted to know what this beast does? I'm giving it to you right here. This is the actual test you want to see at stock. Not overclocked, at stock. So you're seeing it at stock. Okay, this is what we needed to see. So we can turn this off here. We can turn this off here. We can hit quit there. Now, you guys seen that. That gives a better idea of what's going on. Now, we're going to take and we're going to go up on Steam. I know this is not going to do any justice, and because I don't have an M.2 drive, and understand this. So, I know it's not going to make much sense to do this right now, but I'm going to do it anyway. I just want to show you guys, you know, there are things and ways. Yes, we know. Let's just go to the library, man. Let's just go to the library. Wow. Let's see. I got to take Overwatch out. Huh. Well, we don't want to run Ghost Runner demo. Let's see. Let me remember what this one is. No, that's not the one I want. There we go. That'll work. This will tell me what I need to know. Scenarios. Follow. We want this on extreme. And we want this timed run. And we want to do DirectX 3D. And guess what? That's what we're doing. I will push my face out of the way. I don't know. I really don't know. We'll see what the test gives us in the long run. Now, do remember the hard drive we're on is like, 8 years old. So now this system running with an 8-year-old hard drive, I got to tell you, it's a little bit slow when it comes to loading up things, but after that, it rocks along, man. It just rocks along, as you guys are seeing. But we'll see what this DirectX, is going to give us. We'll see what it's going to do. Now, if y'all see anything that I don't see, let me know. Do let me know. If you see anything odd, let me know. And make sure you leave me a comment too, because I want to see if there's something odd I missed. And don't worry, last but not least, we will do MSI Afterburner at the end. So. I wanted to see what this will do on a full test. Yeah. You know, the funny thing is, the fans ain't running. Wow. Definitely the fan curve. I'm definitely going to have to reset the fan curve. But luckily for me, the fans underneath are blowing right into it. So it's getting double the amount of air. So that's a good thing. This is how you save a little bit of your GPU. Yeah. Wow. We're going to do this test in full. we are going to see what's going on then. So, got approximately 20 more minutes before I got to call this quits for this video. I know you guys are going to say, well, you know, you did a 2-hour video on this. Come on. I did a 2-hour video because I wanted to do a Christmas special with you all. I wanted to, you know, do a Christmas PC special. Because there's some questions people were asking that, you know, it had to be answered. You know, what do I do for installing and uninstalling AMD drivers? That's what y'all been saying to me. What do I do? What do I do? You know, that's what we're bringing up right now. This test might seem a little bit more squirrely, but this test right here definitely will tell me what time it is, way the PC's set up and everything else, how it's going to be looking. We're at 328 and we got 360. So we got to meet the 360 for the time run. We're almost there. Yeah, we're almost there. We're at 340. This right here, this test is wild on Steam. 350. This is running your GPU hardcore. Okay. Gotcha. File, save as, documents, Star Swarm. Documents, Star Swarm, new folder, 1224, 12.24.2023. Now, we go there, output, save. Okay, now we saved it. Let's see. What do we get? Okay, let's move it forward. Ran it at a high setting. Okay, now 360 seconds, 60,000 frames. Average FPS 167.61. Average unit count was 5,167. Maximum unit count was 6,568. Average batches between milliseconds was 2174.70. Ooh, that latency is not really that great. So, but average FPS was 167. So, I don't know, man. So, that's just, you know, at the extreme settings. So, we're done here. We're done here on this. So, we'll turn Steam off. We'll exit out of Steam. Okay. So, now, we did all that. Now let's click on MSI Afterburner. which you can click yes. Okay. MSI Afterburner is not hard to install. If you're wanting to know how to set up, everything that you need here, that we will have to do on a different video because this will take too long to set this up. This will take way too long to set this up. So, but you got a GPU fan curve here or a curve editor, Let's go to the settings. And, there's things that we'll have to do to this to unlock it. For the fan, enable, and I don't like it when okay. Okay. So we'll apply the settings. And what we want to do is we want to make sure the fans are working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it to 100%. I want to make sure the fans are working at 100%. And then I'm going to hit apply. Hear the fans? Now I know they're working. "87 degrees Fahrenheit. Not bad." Okay, so now when it's 30, we want 30, we want 50, we want 70, we want 90, and then we want 100 plus. So there we go. That'll keep your fan under control. Hit OK. And remember, when you're running MSI Afterburner, don't hit the X. Minimize it. Yes, we know about that too. You have to restart the application. Now, down at the bottom, you can see all the temperatures and all the memory clocks and GPU usage, CPU power, GPU temperature, RAM usage, and so on, CPU usage, and CPU temp. I have it all set to where, it's simple. So let's go back to the main screen. Since y'all seen that, let's go back to the main screen. Boom. And I always forget this. I know. Okay. We're going to finalize it. If you want a complete step-by-step video on MSI Afterburner, just let me know in the comments below. We'll do a step-by-step. Okay. Simple as that. What I want to do is I want to shut this down too, since we're not going to be using it the rest of the time. What we'll do is we'll take and just turn it off and shut it down. There we go. Now we go back to the main screen. Okay. Final thoughts. I can tell you at 167 FPS on a stress test, extreme stress test, the lows are probably going to be around. Those are probably going to be your lows. We're going to be about between 60 and 80, maybe 90 on your lows. Your average, it's going to sit between 130 to 150. On the high side, you'll probably be lucky to get up to 500 FPS. Lucky to get up to 500 FPS. Depending on the game, you never know. So, truthfully, it's not a bad GPU. I'm not knocking it. I did buy it for the right reasons. But compared to the 4070, I think they're about equal. I think they're about equal in testing, except for I think that, the 4070 on heavy ray tracing, and I know the heavy ray tracing on the 4070, which I have in my system now, pulls a lot better than, the 7800 XT. But the 7800 XT's got its positive points. It's rasterization. It's got more rasterization than the 4070 does. It's even trade. You wish that you had a GPU that has high rasterization and high ray tracing and everything else, just on one GPU, instead of having it spread on two separate GPUs. I know the beef that everybody has about this. I know the beef. But until a company learns to put it all on one and have it straight on all in one, and then, blow your minds so that way you get the best in the world, you have to wait. But as far as the 7800 XT and the 4070, they're your standard intermediate cards. When it comes to the pricing of the rest, these are the standard intermediate cards. These are the two cards that I would say, yes, I would run with. These are the two cards I would say I would run with. I tried both. I tested both. I tested the 7800 XT. I'm happy with it. It's given great response. I've tested 4070. It's given great response. So I have nothing bad about either or card. Nothing bad I can say. Nothing at all. All I can say is in the near future, how gameplay is going to look, in time will tell. But anyway, this is the end of the video. And if you made it to the end of the video, we do appreciate it. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe. And if you've already subscribed, welcome to the family. Welcome to JJ's PC Builds. And my veteran subscribers, as always, much love to you for all that you do, helping support the channel. But until the next time, in the next video, this is JJ on JJ's PC Builds. And Merry Christmas and a happy holiday to everyone. And we will see you on the next video.